Imagine being imprisoned in the same notorious jail as a hip-hop legend. What if the genre's rebellious spirit now faced a 24-year sentence?
Before jury selection began today in LA, A$AP Rocky turned down a final prosecution plea offer of 180 days in jail if he would plead guilty to one of his 2 felony counts. The Grammy-nominated rapper, whose real name is Rakim Mayers, is accused of firing a gun at a former friend outside a Hollywood hotel in 2021. He has pleaded not guilty, and his lawyer says Mayers is looking forward to clearing his name. If convicted, Mayers could get a maximum sentence of 24 years in prison. Opening statements could come as soon as tomorrow.
In today's explosive expose, we uncover how a judge's controversial ruling could land A$AP Rocky in the same facility where Diddy is locked up, igniting a debate that challenges the very core of celebrity justice.
I was the warden at the Metropolitan Detention Center from the spring of 2007 to the late fall of 2009. So I was there for a little over 2.5 years as warden. So I'm very familiar with the facility. What I would have expected her to experience when she entered the facility was, first of all, she would have come in full restraints, which would have included leg irons, a belly chain to attach handcuffs, and the handcuffs will be attached to the belly chain to immobilize her hands. She would be strip searched. She would be processed in terms of fingerprint, photographs. She would be asked a battery of questions relevant to security and safety. She would undergo a cursory medical exam, fill out a multitude of forms that the government requires, and then be assigned to a cell.
A$AP Rocky, born Rakim Mayers, enters a Los Angeles courthouse with unwavering defiance and determination, flanked by his partner Rihanna and his ever-supportive mother.
Do you think her presence there had any impact, especially when it comes to the jury?
No.
And he sips tea.
Well, I mean, let's put it this way. You've got Rihanna. She's a big name in one way, shape, or form or another. Either as her name alone, being the partner of A$AP Rocky, or the fact that she is the mother of his children. I've seen, at least in some cases, not the high-profile cases, when you have the mother of the children in there, jurors do sometimes contemplate, hey, if I put this person in jail for X amount of years, what's that going to happen to the family? We also know during jury selection, at least one juror did contemplate that her presence may have an impact on the case. And I don't think it's coincidental, at least at this point, that she showed up specifically when the main complainant in the case was testifying. You could read the tea leaves how you want there, but it does seem to have some kind of impact as to why she was there.
This isn't just another court appearance, it's a pivotal moment in a trial that could reshape the future of one of hip-hop's brightest stars. A$AP Rocky faces felony assault charges involving a semi-automatic firearm after a heated altercation with his former friend and collaborator, A$AP Rocky, outside a swanky Hollywood hotel.
He did. He absolutely did. Because keep in mind here, we do not have the actual weapon. The shell casings that were allegedly picked up at the scene were picked up by the victim, Terrell, and handed into police. And then the videos that we see, we haven't seen them all. We've only seen a little sample of them. The question is, you do see a scuffle, but you don't exactly see, do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so there's a lot of wiggle room here for a possible acquittal here.
The stakes couldn't be higher. A not guilty plea has set the stage for a dramatic showdown where the outcome could be nothing short of life-changing.
Known for his fashion style and flair, hip-hop star A$AP Rocky is now facing years behind bars, potentially. His trial is what's trending in true crime this morning as the 36-year-old turned down a sweetheart deal on the eve of his jury selection. Rocky's real name is Rakim Mayers, and he declined a final offer from Los Angeles prosecutors to spend 180 days in jail. The agreement also included a 7-year suspended sentence and 3 years of probation, but he said no way. The Grammy-nominated rapper is accused of shooting a former friend of his near a Hollywood hotel back in 2021. And so now, if he's convicted, he's looking at a maximum sentence of 24 years in prison.
As the trial unfolds, gripping surveillance footage and intense courtroom testimonies piece together the events of that fateful night in November 2021. Relly, whose real name is Terrell Efron, took the stand to share a story of broken trust and betrayal. According to his testimony, an unbreakable bond within the ASAP mob crumbled when a disagreement spiraled into violence. Witnesses recall the tense moment when ASAP Rocky, in a state of panic or perhaps defiance, allegedly brandished a handgun and fired a shot, grazing Relly's left hand. The prosecution painted a picture of aggression and recklessness, backing their case with video snippets that seemingly capture Rocky's hand moving toward his waistband. Yet, in a surprising twist, Rocky's defense, led by attorney Joe Tacopina, argues that the alleged weapon was nothing more than a prop from a music video set, a harmless artifact incapable of causing real damage.
Two things. First of all, it's highly problematic for the prosecution that the alleged victim finds the evidence. So the police are there. Police are crime scene people. They're going around the crime scene. They don't find any shell casings, but it just so happens hours later that the alleged victim says, gee, look what I found. So that's highly problematic. Also, we don't know if they searched ASAP Rocky's house. Can the prosecution show that this guy even has guns? Has he ever had a 9mm? Does he have some other type of firearm? So I think that whole thing is problematic. Second thing, this whole called ambush with the new theory that he had a prop gun. The defense doesn't have to disclose their theory. Yes, they have to disclose witnesses, just like the prosecution, but this whole idea of ambush is nonsense. The defense doesn't have to say a word. The defense could have a theory one day and a second theory the next day. So this whole idea of ambush, yeah, it's good PR. It's something that you're going to give to the media, but it's nonsense.
And what ASAP's attorney has conceded to in opening arguments, he claims that ASAP was carrying a prop gun, that it was not a real gun, but a prop gun that he was using because he felt that he was under threat. There are surveillance videos from different angles. It shows a scuffle. It shows someone who looks like ASAP Rocky holding a gun behind his back. But again, he's claiming that's a prop gun. Keep in mind that when a search warrant was served on Rocky's home, they did find weapons. He does have concealed carry licenses. However, those weapons don't match the shell casings from the scene.
As the courtroom drama in Los Angeles escalates, a parallel narrative unfolds on the East Coast. In Brooklyn, the Metropolitan Detention Center has become a symbol of harsh realities and grim conditions, a place where even legendary figures must face the consequences of their actions.
But the conditions of the prison are far from homey, notoriously described as, quote, dreadful, as one judge put it. Some on the bench have even moved away from sending non-violent defendants there. In April, a group of detainees that prosecutors said were MS-13 gang members in court documents stabbed an inmate 44 times in an attack caught on camera. 2 shivs were recovered from the attack. You see them here. The victim survived. And in the last 3 years alone, 4 inmates have died by suicide. And violence is not the only issue. Accusations of medical neglect, staffing shortages, smuggling of drugs, some allegedly facilitated by employees.
Diddy, the multifaceted mogul known by many aliases, Puffy, Love, and more, now resides within these walls, a stark reminder that power and privilege can crumble when confronted by the law.
I believe the reports, and obviously Diddy is someone who's rich and famous and has lived a life of luxury for many years, and now he's in federal prison during the holidays. So this isn't someone who's a hardened criminal who has spent a lot of time in custody. So the fact that he's spending Christmas and New Year's and future holidays in prison is probably finally getting to him. So I'm not surprised that he cracked.
Once a symbol of untouchable success, Diddy now faces life behind bars, confronting charges ranging from sex trafficking by force to racketeering. With his trial looming, his continued incarceration only adds to the growing intrigue.
Now, this afternoon, he was scheduled to go before a judge here and have a hearing in one of the many civil cases that he's facing. But we just learned a short time ago that at the very last minute, that hearing naming Sean Diddy Combs in another legal issue with another legal issue in another civil suit was postponed at the very last minute with no future date scheduled and no explanation. This is just one of the many questions, growing number of questions in need of answers. Now, last Thursday at the MDC, where he is currently incarcerated, my sources tell me that Diddy was taken from MDC, the Metropolitan Detention Center, about 10 at night to a nearby hospital for an MRI on his knee. Skeptics thought there must have been a fight or he was attacked at the prison that's considered one of the most dangerous in America.
The irony is striking. A$AP Rocky, whose music once embodied the spirit of rebellion, now faces the possibility of being confined to the same unforgiving prison as Diddy, a facility infamous for its overcrowded cells, rampant violence, and systemic dysfunction.
You know, we got a little bit of a glimpse of it from that former warden who spoke with TMZ talking about what the daily routine is here, including a 6 a.m. wake-up call for every inmate. There's 1,600 inmates that are housed here. He will be made to make his bed, mop his floor, keep his cell clean, and he will get 3 meals a day, adding up to 1,800 calories. That's all they get. The list of grievances, though, here at the MDC is long. There was a man here who was stabbed to death at the jail at 37 years old over the summer. Rampant violence, poor conditions, staffing shortages, lockdowns. That inmate that was murdered last year and the detainees who have been held at the MDC Brooklyn have complained for years about rampant violence, horrific conditions, staffing shortages, barred from leaving their cells for visits, showers, or exercise. Legal experts say that Diddy's trial on these serious charges on the litany of sex trafficking charges will not be anytime soon, most likely, which is why his attorneys are continuing to fight to get him released immediately.
The judge's decision to link Rocky's fate with Diddy's sends shockwaves through the industry, sparking a cascade of questions. How did we reach a point where 2 icons, once symbols of artistic freedom, now face the grim reality of extended confinement? Is the justice system tightening its grip on the very generation that helped shape modern culture?
But no other race is affected like this when you think in terms of gun violence. No other race of people is turning the guns on each other in the manner and at the rate of which we're doing. And it's an epidemic. And right now, it lies at the feet of the music industry. because we have a whole genre.
As the Los Angeles trial gains momentum, every moment in the courtroom is filled with intense anticipation.
Evidence will make clear that Relly is trying to leverage a fabricated story to extract money from Rocky.
One of the videos presented shows a scuffle between the two that night. The prosecution says that is where the firearm is captured on video.
Mr. Efron will tell you that during the period of time that they are off screen is when the defendant first produces that semi-automatic pistol.
They also played a video and audio of what they say is the moment Rocky fired the weapon.
Mr. Efron will tell you that at the time the shooting was happening, he immediately felt a burning sensation to his hand, which led him to believe that these were graze wounds from one of the bullets that was shot at him.
On one side, the prosecution is intent on portraying Rocky as a figure whose actions reveal a pattern of reckless behavior.
There was a major blow to the defense on the eve of trial, and it was a ballistics report that prosecutors say can link Rocky to the actual bullet casings that were found by Relly on the scene. Before, there was no link. There had been no gun recovered. What prosecutors say is that during the search of Rocky's home, a 9mm magazine was found, and that they knew he owned a .43 Glock. The ballistics report says it's likely that a .43 Glock actually shot the bullets that would be consistent with these bullet casings. So now the defense has to pivot. They're going to use expert testimony, and they're going to argue that that report is baloney. That report is not accurate, and it's based on a faulty.
On the other, his legal team is fighting tooth and nail to dismantle the evidence, a trail of electronic clues and eyewitness testimonies that, if left unchallenged, could seal his fate.
But the defense argues that Rocky, despite having a license to carry, was carrying a prop from a music video with partner Rihanna, and was advised by security to carry it after being the victim of a stalker in home invasions.
It's used in pop movies and music videos. It's also used to scare off attackers by looking and sounding like a real gun.
Adding that Rocky fired blank shots to stop Efron from continuing to attack a fellow crew member. Rocky pleaded not guilty and turned down a plea deal that included 180 days in jail. Now, if he is found guilty, he faces the possibility of up to 24 years in prison.
The narrative is intricate, intertwining personal betrayal, industry politics, and the heavy influence of public opinion.
Ah, he snitched?
Oh yeah, he's snitched.
I'm just playing. Nah, but they need to beat his ass. Hey, what's his name? A$AP Relly?
A$AP Relly.
He like my ass?
Not sure.
I'm beating his ass for Rocky when I catch him, man. Cause bro, you went back, gang. You locked the door, bro. Like what? Like you went back and got shells off the. Yeah, this. Oh yeah. Hey, this like dude in Menace Society. He like, hey, this like Kane beating your ass. Nigga, fuck Kane. Wait, the police get a hold of this tape. It was like, nigga, his ass, motherfucker. Wait till they get a load of these shells. Get your bitch ass. Hey, folk, I don't know you A$AP Relly, folk, but you just snitched on folks, and all folks trying to do is wear designer and be with his famous girlfriend, folk. I live the same life as him, folk.
With Rihanna's silent yet powerful presence in the gallery, the trial takes on a cinematic intensity, where every whispered exchange and fleeting glance only heightens the tension.
Good morning. Yeah, there was a lot of action in the courtroom last week, but none of it really has to do with the trial, the evidence, or the facts. Rihanna was in court several days last week in downtown Los Angeles. She sat between A$AP Rocky's mom and sister. The first 2 days she managed to get in and out and avoid cameras. She went in the back way. And then on her final day, we did get some video of Rihanna exiting. What's interesting here is also we're told that Rihanna and A$AP Rocky actually walked into the courtroom together from the hallway. They were seen by the jurors, other jurors. So certainly making a statement there.
Beyond the courtroom drama lies a broader cultural reckoning. The possibility of A$AP Rocky joining Diddy at MDC serves as a stark reminder that no one is truly above the law.
And hip-hop was just the beginning. Over the past 2 decades, he expanded his business across several lifestyle categories, including the Sean John fashion and fragrance lines, a wildly successful Ciroc vodka partnership with British spirits conglomerate Diageo, and founding the Revolt TV network. Over that period, he earned nearly $1 billion. In 2019, Forbes estimated Combs' personal wealth at $740 million. Both Combs and his team later claimed that he was a billionaire. The severity of potential federal charges, Combs would face enormous financial penalties and a long prison sentence. Combs has not been criminally charged. Combs' former Manhattan headquarters for Bad Boy Worldwide is now just a pile of rubble. And much like his former corporate castle, the 54-year-old hip-hop mogul's empire has crumbled along with it.
The courtroom is more than just a space for legal proceedings. It's a stage where personal histories and public personas collide.
The relationship that you're describing in high school, were the two of you close friends? Like, would you see him every day? Or was this sort of a friendship where you knew of him but didn't really know him?
No, we knew each other. We knew each other very well.
ASAP Rocky's refusal to accept a plea deal, one that would have limited his sentence to just 180 days behind bars, speaks to his unwavering defiance. Rather than settling for a guaranteed short stint, he has chosen to risk it all, betting on full exoneration, even if it means facing the possibility of a 24-year prison sentence.
I think it says that Rocky believes that he's innocent. I mean, he says that he was carrying a prop gun, a fake gun, and he didn't shoot anybody, he didn't do anything, and I think he really believes that because otherwise he probably would have taken the deal, faced with a potentially 24-year sentence, I believe. So it was a good deal, but if you're innocent, then why take a deal at all?
Exactly, Jennifer. Franz, to you next, please. What does it say to you?
So allow me to take the other side of the coin on this one. He needs to really reconsider that decision, rejecting that deal. He is facing some significant jail time, and I don't doubt that he has faith in a system that he believes will not convict an innocent person. And he may in fact be truly innocent. He may have in fact have a wonderful defense, but 180 days with some suspended time over your head versus possibly spending decades in jail. This is the high stakes table, Julie, and I get really nervous when we start rejecting deals that involve days and we're facing consequences that involve decades.
The trial also sheds light on the complex dynamics of celebrity relationships. Rihanna's courtroom appearance, her first in connection to Rocky's legal troubles, has ignited a wave of speculation.
If and when Rihanna shows up at the trial, the jurors are going to notice. And it's very clear both sides, prosecution and defense, know that Rihanna's presence could mean something to the jury. The reason being, she was a major topic of voir dire at jury selection. Some, in fact, being dismissed because they said if Rihanna was there, it could actually sway their opinion.
Is her presence a display of unwavering support or a strategic move to shield herself from the fallout of a trial that could redefine the limits of celebrity loyalty?
This case is not about Rihanna, but I guess the DA wants to make sure that people aren't so enamored with Rihanna. They're going to be so blinded by their love for Rihanna that they won't listen to the evidence and the facts in this case. I don't think that's the case. I think people are too smart for that. We're ready to go. We're ready to go. I mean, it's been a long time. It's been over 2 years. Obviously, it's been something that's weighing over, Rocky and Rihanna and their families' heads for a while, and we're just ready. We're anxious to get this thing underway and get this behind him.
The judge's ruling, controversial and unapologetically blunt, compels us to face an unsettling truth. The very systems built to protect society can also serve as the mechanisms that hold its most powerful figures accountable.
No, you can't. I can't respond to what he just said about the jury. It doesn't matter about what he said about the jury. That has That has no bearing on any decision I'm going to make.
There's a record, though. There was a record.
I don't believe that you are unhappy with the jury. Mr. Lewin might say you're unhappy with the jury, but I don't believe you are. If you were, you wouldn't have accepted the jury. I believe that both sides are satisfied with this jury and that both sides will get a fair trial. You don't need to respond to it because it doesn't matter whether he does or does not think you're happy with the jury. I believe that you are satisfied with the jury.
Is ASAP Rocky's defiant courtroom stance a desperate attempt to avoid a 24-year sentence, or the start of a reckoning that could dismantle hip-hop's untouchable image? Is this the moment where power finally meets its match, or just another twist in the ongoing saga of celebrity accountability? One thing is certain. This story is far from over.
The Grammy-nominated rapper is accused of shooting at a former friend near a Hollywood hotel back in 2021. Rocky's real name is Rakeem Mayers, and he declined a plea offer to spend 180 days in jail ahead of his trial. He faces a maximum sentence of 24 years in prison if he's convicted. Let's take a look at the jury breakdown. We've got 12 jurors who are going to hear this case. 5 of them are men, 7 of them are women. According to TMZ, none of the jurors, including the 4 alternates, are African American. None of them. And we know the defense was taking issue with the pool earlier this week. Now, the defense team plans to call witnesses to testify that the alleged firearm seen on security footage, alleged to be carried by Rocky, was a starter pistol he carried as a prop, pointing to why no shell casings were found at the scene. The surveillance footage is grainy of the actual shooting, maybe hard to identify the shooters wearing a dark hoodie, hard to see the face, and we know that the alleged victim collected the spent cartridge casings himself and brought them to police, which could prove to be problematic. So if you saw my opening statement, you're going to know what we're asking. We're wondering, is this trial going to be a stinker? In other words, is this a bad case for the prosecution? Maybe, maybe not. Let's see what our power panel thinks. Let's bring back in criminal defense attorney and former prosecutor Joe Tamburino, and welcome in domestic violence expert and former law enforcement officer Claudia King, and media personality and artist Headcrack. Good morning to you all. Okay, is this one a stinker? Ladies first, Claudia King, what do you say?
It definitely sounds like it, Julie, because the prosecution made that offer of 180 days in jail. To me, that shows that they don't have a ton of confidence in this case if they were going to let it go for just 180 days. It sounds like the video is blurry. It's hard to tell if it's really ASAP Rocky. There's the issue with the shell casings and the fact that the victim turned them over and collected them allegedly. So I just see this being very problematic for the prosecution.
Yeah, great points. Claudia, thank you. Great point about the plea deal. When you have such a sweetheart deal, could mean that, you know, the case stinks. Headcrack, I want to go to you next, please. Your thoughts on this? Is this a stinker or maybe a solid case?
It sounds a little sloppy, and like what she was saying, if they're gonna offer you 180 days, which is way sweeter than 24 possible years in prison, and you decide to be, I like our odds on this, and I'm just gonna go for it because we know what we know. I think the defense probably feels like they have a very fortified, defense on their side that'll be able to prove that ASAP Rocky wasn't trying to really hurt this man, but just scare him off, fend him off, or whatever. And it's just so problematic from the prosecutor.
If you don't want to miss a single pulse-pounding update as this drama unfolds, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because the truth is coming and you'll want to be here for it.